Oh no!
Oh
Not
no!
the
I want to see it in action, Alex. I want to see.
Right. Well, here we go. I think our players are pretty much ready. We're about to kick off our top 4 of the Gdańsk Regional Championship. Here's the fist bump here. Both players turning over their Pokemon. Regidrago in the active slot for both players. Alberto Conti drawing, so he's won the coin flip.
Reaches
Could be
to
massive.
his deck first. That is huge, as you say, Alex. It gives Alberto the first opportunity to get an attachment in, as well as evolve into his V-Star Pokemon first. We're having a look to see there's at least an Earthen Vessel. I believe there was Ultra Ball in there as well. Oh no, it's just a couple Earthen Vessel. So all he can do is thin his deck of these energy cards. I think it's an attached pass from there, Alex, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it didn't look like too much more beyond that. But of course, Alberto will be going through the motions, working out where his attackers are. He's obviously just flicked up that Giratina V-Star as well. Immediately, that's the first thing he's probably looked at, despite the Dragapult being right at the bottom of the deck. And he's just double-checking those other resources as well, the E-switches and sort of the energy counts, of course. And then also working out that his pink A-Spec will be hidden for the moment, at least.
Yeah, I love the priorities from Alberto. Where is it? Yeah, there's Giratina at my side. I know that I'm in with a good shot here. Now he's getting down to business, though. Taking a look at those energy counts. Will, of course, continue to look through, trying to find those energy switches, which are also really important to cherry pick here. You also don't want to give anything away to your opponents, so just remaining calm at the stage, doing a usual deck search is still really important, because there's still a decent chance that Daniel might just fire off an Iono on the first turn anyway. So why not just take your time, compose yourself, grab these energy, get an attachment in, and you're actually still threatening a lot, even though your hand's not getting you very far.
Yeah, there's so much to go for here. And as you do see the fire energy attachment, and just to pass over. So over to Daniel. Alberto hasn't really been able to set up his board. We spoke about the Squawkabilly EX nice and early, but nothing like that came down, as we do see a quick Earthen Vessel of dispatching of that Dragapult EX into the discard. And now it's on Daniel's turn to double check what is prized from his side. Nothing too big to recall right now. Of course, we did see the Haxorus, which would be a nice efficient attacker into those Vs and EXs that may come down on Alberto's side, but nothing to worry about too much here.
Yeah, not too awkward for Daniel. I think I already saw an Ultra Ball in hand as well, so he should have access to the likes of his Squawkabilly EX if he needs to have a complete refresh here, as is important for every game of Pokemon. Taking a look to see what you have access to is going to be supremely important, not only because you're going to be wanting to access these cards, but also you want to know what you have access to from your discard pile with Legacy Star. Sometimes, if you have something in the prize cards, you might be forced to Legacy Star back a different card than you would otherwise choose. So very wise, especially with this archetype that has a lot of discarding effects. Your V-Star, your Research as your premium supporter card. Really important to keep track of all these things as we get into our first search with the Earthen Vessel here from Daniel. And when you're going second, you see your opponent have a slightly weaker start. Does that change anything for you, Alex?
No, I don't think so. I think this kind of almost puts the emphasis on Daniel to kind of burst through and begin actually building that board and just having a more complete board state. Because with Alberto not having anything like the Ogapons at the moment going, he's had to dig out just energies out of those decks for now. You would have seen maybe Alberto take multiple energies out.
For sure.
With just the Vessel at the moment. He's then having to kind of go and look for a supporter or another way to get out of this current scenario, whereas Daniel can start to set the scene here, as we do see the first Teal dance.
Into another Nest Ball. That's a nice refund. We've just searched the Teal Mask, then we find another Ball Search card for another Pokemon.
He's got so many. It's multiple Nest Balls in hand. He's already played one. He's got another Regidrago V. Wow. He's got everything going on that he would need to have an explosive turn one. Of course, attacking is very unlikely, or at least wouldn't be doing too much, so probably would like to try and hold on to some of those E-switches for a latter stage of the game. As we do see the Squawkabilly EX hit the field as well. I guess from Alberto's side, he's probably staring down and just kind of getting a bit of deja vu from Lil in the top 4 against James Cox as well, because it was another mirror match. And he's just sort of hoping that he can kind of get out of this quickly.
Daniel finding an opportunity possibly to discard an additional dragon. There's already that Dragapult EX, but now it's going to be the Hisuian Gudra V-Star. This has been a card that's kind of out of vogue as of late in the most recent builds of Regidrago that have been trying to make space for Noctowl lines. But now the Hisuian Gudra, definitely a strong card in the world's deck lists, and is once again being played by Daniel. And actually searched so early shows that it might be a crucial card in this matchup, Alex.
Yep, and we spoke about it on the couch before I unfortunately had to cut off Daniel and giving the right shout out that he'd like to. But he did mention the Gudra after I asked him about it. He knew it was a fantastic card for the mirror.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why he's highlighted it. when I was discussing whether it's been a good inclusion, love the good, throughout this tournament so far. So that's why he's kind of targeted nice and early. Doesn't need to worry about too much. As we see more teal dances for the time being as well.
It looks like he's sat on a great hand. Supporters for next turn. Oh, do we have double energy switch? Can we swing already here?
Is that ideal? Here we go. It's a supporter as well. Research. There's the Giratina of V-Star staring down at Alberto Conti.
Wow, what a great opener. You haven't had to discard too many resources. I think one Regidrago V and V-Star have hit the discard pile, but nothing that influential otherwise. It's a second energy switch. We're launching some attacks here, Alex.
I didn't anticipate this when I was sitting down for this turn, Joe. I didn't expect
Dragon Laser.
130 to the active, 30 to the bench, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Really sort of preying on Alberto's poor start. Thinking maybe potentially there's no way that he's going to be able to get a retaliation attack and actually get a knockout here. But never say never.
I mean, it's one of those situations where you're kind of happy in both situations. If your opponent does overextend massively because Alberto's turn wasn't great, you're almost knowing that your opponent has to use a V-Star if they're going to launch any attack next turn. So you sort of let them go very aggressive, use their own Giratina V-Star, then Daniel can be in control of the likes of Iono from then on, and still gets the really helpful 130 damage swing in, which can set up things like Gudra or Dragapult for future turns, as he does end there by swinging into Regidrago V. Let's see the top deck from Alberto. Was that the V-Star coming in?
Not entirely sure here. We do see just double-checking whether he wants to actually attach that grass energy here. Now, it did look like a V-Star in hand, actually.
Yeah, that may have been the top deck. That might be the thing saving Alberto here.
Would have to expend that V-Star power to just get in the game.
Spent turn one from Daniel, getting very aggressive. So it's going to be an attachment from Alberto to the active.
Alberto's
we are going to find the V-Star here.
Yeah, own aggressive turn, I think.
Oh, has the Iono as well, so we can at least see 6 cards first. That may have been in the hand before. Just not playable on that first turn of the game, of course, going first. So we'll see 6 fresh cards here, looking to try and find his own Teal Mask Ogerpon plus Energy Switch combination to launch an attack. I think I already saw Grass Energy and Ogerpon. Another Regidrago V, not too shabby either. Lots of Pokemon here. Let's see an additional card from the Teal Dance.
Yep, unlike Daniel's side.
Another Ogerpon back.
I was going to say, unlike Daniel's side, doesn't have anything like a Haxorus, whereas an easy sort of relatively efficient attacker to go into. The only way to one-hit this Regidrago V is actually the Giratina V-Star, as we've already mentioned as well. As the hand continues coming down, there's the winner of our last prediction bracket. He's cancelling Cologne, the active.
Couple of draws from the Mew EX here. We still need to even discard some Pokemon to attack with here, to copy. Is that an Earthen Vessel that you can discard his Dragapult EX with here? Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, we've got an attacker in the discard now, so don't forget Regidrago V-Star's Apex Dragon, which allows you to choose an attack from the Dragon Pokemon in your discard pile and use it as this one. So that's how it incorporates a variety of different attackers, and that we'll see big nuances and big differences between both players, in fact.
So we're shuffling up here for Alberto, and we absolutely have to find an energy switch from our V-Star power here. There are situations when you're doing this to get back resources you know are in the discard pile, and you're quite happy to guarantee those outs. But sometimes like this, you're having the risky Legacy Star, where we need to dig from the top 7 to find an energy switch here.
Massive 7 cards. Let's have a little look, Alberto. It's all discarded, remember, they all get turned over.
Does find an energy switch. Only gets rid of 1 as well, so that's a really nice outcome for him. It means we can launch an attack this turn, and we haven't lost any additional energy switch either in the process.
Is that as good of a...
That is amazing, actually. Lots of ball search cards, lost a Super Rod, but I think you take that on reflection. That could have been way, way more dangerous for him.
100%, but at this point now, what do you even need to choose?
Well, there's only the Dragapult EX in the discard pile, I believe, right? So, oh, you're saying for the second card that we can add in.
The second card.
Maybe just Iono back again. You're not taking a prize this turn.
Yeah, very true. Very
just have
true.
access to that.
You
know you probably want to go round this Regidrago if you assume Daniel's going to go for a Gudra next turn, but there's no gusting effects in the discard pile either.
So there's
possibly you could take Nestball for Pheasantipity later.
Looks like the Nestball is being eyed up.
Oh, his hand is bad. He could really use this Iono, I think, now.
So I guess that's probably one of those massive decisions he has to make. Of course, doesn't want to just rely on the Mew.
That unlocks Mew to draw more. Nestball unlocks Pheasantipity EX.
Well, both unlock.
Yeah, Ultra Ball also does. And would allow you to Mew first.
Draw as well, yeah.
I should say that. But not the Iono. That's really interesting. It means Alberto wants to dig towards boss's orders, give himself maximum outs to gust around his opponent's Regidrago on a future turn.
So we do have the nest ball that's hit the hand now. He's playing it out as well. Just likely to see the Pheasantipity, I'm sure. Just to make sure it's ready, because it's not likely that Daniel's going to target that as the next attack. You know, let's take out the Pokemon with free energy on it instead.
Yep, nice to have that on board. Having both Mew EX and Pheasantipity EX gives you a bit more comfort that you're always going to find a way to draw cards.
Right, here we go. Energy switch activated and moved to the Regidrago V-Star now. Already taken 130 damage. 150 left, of course. And just being able to swing back at this Regidrago V that has been able to attack turn 1 from Daniel. Now 200 damage on the active, 20 HP left, 6 damage counters to play with. Where's it going?
I definitely like one on at least an Ogapon, maybe both, to be honest with you. Could just be one and the rest on Drago. Also going to be some on Squawkabilly here. One onto Squawkabilly, one onto Ogapon. The remaining 3 floated onto Regidrago V on the bench for Daniel as it passes into his turn now. Still has a good amount of ball search in that hand by the looks of things.
Just had a lot going, didn't he? Yeah. After that research as well.
I feel like he's in one of these amazing positions with Regidrago where you don't need to V-Star this turn either. You can evolve into a V-Star, but you don't have to flip your marker. And as we know with Regidrago, the longer you can hold out on that effect, the more you can guarantee what you're finding from your discard pile. So I think Daniel might be in a good position here, just on that alone.
Already just raw finding the energy switches with already the energies attached just makes things so much more smoother in terms of planning out your sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th turn. And that's probably when Daniel's going to be looking to really close out this game. He's already had to force Alberto effectively to expend that V-Star power, but Daniel was able to utilize his one when he chooses to do so in the mid to late game. And there's an Iono as well. So giving a fresh set of 6 cards to Alberto and taking a fresh 6 for himself, but at least doing it just to kind of limit what Alberto could do on future turns. But it does give Alberto, if he's taking the knockout, 9, 10 cards to work with.
Yeah, it does give him plenty on the bounce back. Let's see how Daniel wants to approach this. To use either Dragapult EX or the Goodra, you're definitely going to be taking those prizes, so Pheasantipity will be open. There's a quick teal dance in there. I suppose this is already a heavily damaged Regidrago V-Star, so you probably want to just Dragapult EX anyway, just to fling more counters around your opponent's board. Going to be a quick nest ball fired off here to fill his bench.
Yep, and because Alberto's had to expend that V-Star power, he's going to have to try and weave in that Radiant Charizard at some stage as well. That's why we're very likely to have seen the free damage onto the other Regidrago V. Just kind of putting it within that 250 range if it does evolve up to the V-Star. And, you know, there's a few different plays here that are very unique to both players. Because remember, Daniel has access to different attackers in comparison. That Goodra is kind of waiting in the wings already in the discard pile. In comparison to Alberto's more standard variety of attackers, I'd say.
Daniel's deck is already getting really slim despite not having used his V-Star power just yet. He's had a really good time of things with Squawkabilly and Research into this Iono, and is thinning the deck even more here with a couple of Grass Energy with the Earthen Vessel. Can get one more draw in with this 3rd Teal Dance that he's benched this turn. Hasn't had a manual attachment yet onto a Regidrago. I think the one thing we might be missing is another V-Star on the bench.
We already
saw an energy switch, though. We're being very proactive with our energy switches here.
I guess the likelihood is you're already having to let Alberto deal with the active Regidrago V-Star. The bench one is very unlikely to be targeted down, as we do see Daniel using Phantom Dive here, just connecting the final 6 damage counters onto the Regidrago V and the Pheasantipity. Now the Pheasantipity is within range of a Goodra or another Phantom Dive, and the Drago V is currently, if it evolves up, down to 230. But for the time being, still just on that 170 HP. We do see the Vessel immediately come down from the Alberto, and his favorite card also hit the discard as well. He's double-checking.
Yeah, the mascot discarded. 2 grass coming into the hand. I think there's already 1 energy switch at least. There may even be 2, to be honest with you. There's Professor's Research in hand as well. So Alberto should be having a nice bounce back here. Of course, Pheasantipity is online for him as well. So again, we'll be drawing a lot of cards here. He also had a quick peek at the last Iono in his deck. One already played and not recovered from the V-Star power.
One thing Alberto may or may not have taken note of already, but Daniel doesn't actually play Pheasantipity EX. So in combination with things like a Iono to impact Daniel's hand, although despite having that's maybe why he's been a bit more proactive with some of those energy switches that he's already seen in play. But that's one way to try and potentially claw his way back into the game, as we do see an Ultra Ball now hitting the field. Double Research hitting the discard, knowing he doesn't want to play those anytime soon. There's eyeing up the Radiant Charizard as well.
Daniel, having taken 2 prize cards, means that Alberto would still have to commit a number of energy switches if he wanted to get Radiant Charizard into the mix. But it is a way that you can offset the prize race using this single prize Pokemon.
What's key here? He doesn't need to... Still trying to utilize attacker. At the moment, the most easiest of attackers is that Ogerpon. Just kind of waiting with 2 energies already attached to it. Do see an energy switch now. It's going straight to the Charizard. Is he going to try and weave this one in early?
Does seem that way. Mew can draw 1 card. Find Super Rod. You just lost a bunch of energy cards, so recovering those seems reasonable.
Looks like was it a boss and a research in hand as well?
So we're just going to quickly play the second Super Rod. This is the last one. So he's going to reload a Fire Energy as well as a Grass. Just 1 copy of Grass coming back in. Surprising not to see both, to be honest with you, because Teal Dances always equate to additional draws. They're almost like freebies to draw into throughout the game. And
potentially an additional attacker if it needs to hit 150 and that Squawkabilly as well, because that's been primed at the same time. So a discard of the boss's orders. The Prime Catcher, remember, is in Alberto's prizes, so
there's
does hit an E-switch.
There's a Fire Energy as well. So I think we are swinging with Radiant Charizard here. That's the turn that Alberto wanted. Going to Ultra Ball in here as well. Can get rid of Kyurem and Regidrago V. It looks like that's going to be, you know, the last 2 attackers set up is going to be the Radiant Charizard and the Regidrago V-Star that's already in play. So just thinning these Pokemon. First things first, and also Alberto taking a moment to see what's remaining in the deck in terms of resources. See the switch in there, a number of basic energy in the deck still. A couple of those Dragon Pokemon. One's going to be fished out here with the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, this is quite a unique scenario because it takes the same amount of energy switches and the Fire Energy to attack with a Radiant Charizard. So obviously just going down this route just to make sure he doesn't give up more than 1 prize, but then powering up that second attacker is going to be equally different. Difficult, sorry.
I think both Super Rod are played as well.
I believe so. I believe so. So that's where it's going to be really difficult for Alberto to just weave in another attacker.
Here's Pheasantipity drawing that 3 after everything else. Weaving in at the very end, the final moment.
There's an energy switch being played onto the Charizard, so it looks like we're going to be going for a Combustion Blast after an Excited Heart ability, which allows you to attack with reduced energy costs based on the number of prizes your opponent has taken. Here comes the Jamming Tower, potentially as well.
I think you just want to play this card out so you never see it again. Seems pretty reasonable to me. Don't think it ever hurts you. It's just going to be the KO. You've already set up this Regidrago, and now it's going to be knocked out. That's the first 2 prizes for Alberto, but he's gone down a number of those energy switches now. That's exactly what Daniel's doing. He's picking up the discard pile and seeing, wow, you've spent a lot of energy switches there just to get this Radiant Charizard going. And Alberto's going to have to deal with, you know, Teal Mask Ogerpon for the rest of the game by the looks of things. If I'm right, with double Super Rod in the discard, I think there's 3 energy switch played.
Yep, I believe so.
So we can't recycle this Radiant Charizard.
So this is where I wonder, would it have been better just swing away with an Ogerpon at this time?
Or just the V-Star, and then you can, you know, the Charizard gets cheaper throughout the game.
That's very true. Very true. Just to get the maximum value out of it. But this is the direction that Alberto's gone in. He's the master of deck. He's the one in top 4 here right now, back to back, of course.
Daniel's checking everything. He knows that he could be in a really good position here if he just makes the right call this turn. Daniel might have to decide on whether or not it's worth trying to V-Star power here to make a play happen. Or is Alberto sort of putting him in a trap, putting him in a strange position that he wasn't expecting, that then makes Daniel have a misstep?
Yep, those are the questions always being asked, of course. There's the Night Stretcher. So this is one of the other differences between the lists. Alberto playing double Super Rod, whereas Daniel was actually playing with that Night Stretcher just to be able to instantly pick up that V-Star he had already, I think he discarded one, right? And also just lost to the Radiant Charizard already. Doesn't mean he can't use it to pick up the Fire Energy, and I'm not too sure if he has it yet in hand.
He's definitely just got that V-Star prepped, ready to pick up. There we go.
There's the instant evolution.
And he's hovering over that V-Star marker.
This would guarantee the Fire Energy as well, because you can cherry pick any 2 cards after the 7 discarded. Remember, we did say the deck's quite thin.
Yeah, he checked at the start here, as we are going to discard. Well, we are getting rid of the Prime Catcher, we know that much. The final energy switch, there's Superior Energy Retrieval. He plays 2 copies in the deck list.
at 2 cards remaining in deck. So
wow.
he's really utilizing all of those cards to fantastic value. But he's eyeing up the superior energy retrieval and the energy switches, just double checking where they are at the moment. He's only seen 3.
If he's worried about how many cards remain in deck, he still has Iono that can reset him a little bit. Don't forget. It's like another energy switch is being picked up here.
Was it all 4 spent, actually?
Yes. Because he's played, he did so many on turn 1. So I think he's... he proactively played the 3rd one on the previous turn. So here we go. It's going to be energy switch back as well as superior energy retrieval. That means we have access to that fire energy. And we're getting down to a point where Daniel has very few cards remaining in the deck, as we said. So it's going to be hard to disrupt him. Even without Pheasantipity, you just have all these grass energy left, and you can teal dance your way to the final cards you need. Speaking of which, here's one more. He has down to 1 card remaining.
The biggest trouble, and again, we touched it on the sofa interview I had with Daniel. You know, he made the small changes because of working with his friends, his coach, and just has that fire energy sort of reduced to only 2 in his list. You know, we actually have 1 prized, and the other superior energy retrieval is prized as well, but it's likely to potentially maybe take it out if he's taking his knockout on his Radiant Charizard here.
I think Daniel's eyeing up Boss. I think that's what he's looking at here, because with only 1 card in deck, if we're right, he has to keep going for 2 prizes.
It is really interesting. He's targeting that Pheasantipity.
I think just based on using that V-Star power, not taking back Iono, he's forced into this 2-prize KO here. He's still in a pretty good space in terms of a prize race, but, well, maybe just still taking out Radiant Charizard puts you in a decent enough spot.
Is this going to be a Goodra attack here?
Yeah, Goodra attack also
stops the Radiant Charizard retaliating.
That also seems very valid.
So a few different angles that you can play as a Regidrago. If anyone wants to sort of pick up this deck and work out, but it is the Dragapult. Get full value out of the 260 damage that's going to be going onto the board.
Wow, the Goodra seems so strong there. The prepped 1 damage counter seemed really reasonable, but it's just going to be onto Mew as well as Ogerpon as well.
I guess he's just setting up a retaliate Ogerpon attack onto a potential benched EX or V Pokemon on Alberto's side, because his Radiant Charizard's coming up. That's a given. Yeah. But then it's on Alberto to try and figure out a way to maybe slow down the next turn, stop Daniel getting the
Iono in hand for Alberto. Actually, already had one.
That's actually massive.
If you take out this active Regidrago V-Star, even with an Ogerpon response, that's just a single prize card, and then you can work towards your own Ogerpon into an opposing Ogerpon.
Yeah, so there you go. Alberto's double-checking the gusting options of Daniel now. Of course, Daniel's slight protection from an Iono is that Mew EX that's currently still on the board, allowing to restart back up to 3, of course. But this is going to be, this is the pivotal turn, right? So we get a Teal Dance in from the Ogerpon. Does hit the final E-switch, it looks like.
So you can E-switch, turn attach your Regidrago V-Star.
Ready for the next turn.
Ready for the following turn with a Radiant Charizard attack. This line of play from Alberto seemed really awkward, but it made Daniel push away this Charizard. And now Alberto has essentially 2 attackers powered up, and he's going to be the one forcing Daniel down to just 2 cards here. Yeah,
take away that energy from the damaged Ogerpon so it doesn't support the push of a Teal Mask Ogerpon coming out and doing a big attack. The Cleffa comes down as well.
You're allowed to, because this is the last Regidrago.
And there's the Iono. This could be a massive swing here. It's all down to what Daniel... Wow. I think Daniel's not even wanting to shuffle. Yeah.
I think that makes sense, because there's only 1 card remaining in your deck. You say, I don't want control of this. Let someone else do it for me.
I mean, as long as it's sufficiently randomized, that's the key thing, as there's 2 cards there. So Daniel will be seeing 4 cards in total. Well, 3 cards initially, and then potentially up to 4.
Up comes the Radiant Charizard once again. Alberto goes down to 2 prize cards and has a benched Regidrago V-Star ready to mop up those final couple.
It's on you, Daniel.
What goes into the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX.
What have you got? There's an energy. He's got a Teal Dance coming
Haven't yet seen what's in hand.
There's only 4 cards there.
Haxorus, Switch, and Grass Energy, so you can -1 with the Switch.
And the energy, so we can see a few cards here. So he does have to hit the boss, right?
If we
and energy attachment to the Ogerpon, so boss onto the Mew. That's what you're going to be aiming for. So there's the Teal Dance, draw 1. That's not it yet, but can continue maybe playing down a card so that he can.
Mew EX for draw. Is it Superior that's in hand? That would be a huge draw.
Yeah,
it's Superior Energy Retrieval.
So it has to take.
That means we can get a 3 Grass Energy here.
Yeah, does that guarantee
twice.
And see all the cards?
That should be game. We can manually attach Teal Dance.
It was just a 2.
And then Mew EX. That's all we need.
Yeah, so would
That's
see the rest of his deck.
Here. Yeah, Teal Dance, as long as the boss's orders is here.
Not that card. Wait, is that a card?
There's the manual attachment.
Oh, here we go.
There's the retreat. Here we go. In comes the heavily powered Ogerpon EX into the boss's orders to the pre-damaged Mew EX. That's the final 2 prizes. Daniel is going to be winning our game number 1 here. Really, really interesting end game there from Daniel, but found a very nice line to have back-to-back boss's orders for victory.
Yeah, incredible play, incredible sort of well thought out line that Daniel has been able to figure out based on what he's been prizing, what cards he's already utilized throughout the game so far. Obviously had that massive advantage, it felt like, just by being able to utilize a few more of his sort of setup turns in comparison to Alberto. Just look at that board, so look how many energies were already on there in comparison. But then it was very back and forth. Alberto found his own line.
This was such an interesting turn from Alberto. It didn't look good on the surface, but just looking at the resources remaining and Daniel not wanting to take that single prize, you're taught so often, try and stay on that even prize map so I can win as few attacks as possible. Alberto made Daniel make the decision that allowed him to have this great Iono plus Radiant Charizard turn. But fortunately, Daniel had so many grass energy left that he could Teal Dance his way to find that winning boss's orders.
Yeah, that superior energy retrieval that he pulled out of the prizes as well from the 2 prizes taken from knocking out that Pheasantipity. Really sort of gave Daniel the chance to be able to utilize so many Teal Dance, so many energy attachments just to take a knockout on just a no energy Mew EX, right?
Yeah, a great combination there from Daniel. And it's also coming back to his deck list. We saw him weave in well, actually didn't see him weaving the Gudra in this game, but we did see the Superior Energy Retrievals, which were very popular around the World Championships. Lists have kind of moved on, tried to steal space and go to just Super Odds to be the catch-all card. But we saw Night Stretcher and Superior showing why they're really good inclusions.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the only, is that the only Pokemon sort of recovery?
One Night Stretcher is the only recovery in the deck list for Daniel.
Whereas Alberto, working with multiple, but then has to utilize maybe a few more combo pieces to kind of get them back out sometimes can be a bit troubling. But, I'm sure Alberto is probably thinking, well, look how close it was, even though I didn't even draw that well.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Let's just see how this is going to play out when I'm able to draw out a little bit better and just set up my board, maybe get my own Squawk and Squeeze going.
Squeeze? Squeeze me? Yeah. Squawk and Seize, please. That's a Squawk ability. But Daniel able to get the win, even though he went second because he got so aggressive with his Regidrago V. It's not something you see every day. So really impressive stuff. Both players being put in situations they may not have seen throughout this entire tournament.
I'm sticking with Squeeze. I've spoken about squishy Pokemon this whole time. We're sticking with Squeeze.
Oh, dearie me, as we're going to start to see some prize cards come down for both of these players here. Let's see if there's anything treacherous. Well, Giratina V-Star for both players.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be interesting. A couple energy switch for Alberto as well. Ooh, these are not ideal, to be honest with you.
But, as long as you can kind of get into the first couple, then maybe you can kind of work around 2 being prize. Especially if you're going first as well. Does have Mew active.
The hand looks solid. We already have a Teal Mask, Ogerpon. We have a Regidrago V in hand as well, and some additional energy to go alongside it. Actually, the fire's just picked up now. That's a pretty strong start, to be fair, for Alberto.
Not the Squawk and Squeeze, though.
No squeezing.
No squeezing, not yet. Anyway, so it's just a pass over into Daniel's turn. Will we see something quite similar again? Does have a Nest Ball and a Teal Dance ready to go as well. Hits the research off that. He has a Nest Ball, Ultra Ball. He's got it all going on again, Joe.
Once again, that's a fantastic opener for Daniel, and that's why you use the Teal Dance before the Nest Ball, because now you don't have to get Squawkabilly. You can get one of your more ideal bench Pokemon like that Regidrago V, get some energy established on that, possibly even another Ogerpon if you want to get aggressive once again and start swinging on turn 1. We know Daniel is partial to it from that first game. And once again, he's also even eyeing up Cleffa. This can be a good card for when you go second. Again, to try and force Alberto to take a single prize knockout, and then it's not so bad that they've had the first attack, because it's just far less impactful than heavily damaging or KOing a 2-prize Pokemon.
Yeah, you don't want to waste damage counters on that Cleffa where you don't need to, of course. Sometimes can cause a bit of a unique scenario where weaving in that Charizard's not as easy, or you have to kind of expend an energy switch just like Alberto done to kind of get that attack off. But,
another
you know,
nest ball. Wow,
look at that. I mean, who needs all of these pieces? I mean, that teal dance was just like a little bit of icing on the, or cherry on top of the cake, I should say.
Well, I think it changed the whole turn with the research pickup.
Exactly.
That does change all of these search targets now.
He's able to set up his own Regidrago V onto the board now. Does have Ultra Ball, so can maybe even start bringing out like a Dragon Pokemon into the hand to research away. Doesn't want to give up the Mew EX because they know how vital that sometimes can be. Just a bit of protection from sort of hand disruption, as we do see the second Regidrago V come down as well.
Wow, what a start here. Not going to muck about with the restart from Mew EX just in case anything goes wrong from those pickups. So instead is going to just get the fresh 7-card hand there, really well navigated from Daniel. And it looks like he should be able to, from this 7 cards, lower his hand size down, try and get to that Cleffer as well, and grasp your way back up to 7 cards.
Yeah, I missed that kind of high five we used to have when we had a fresh 7 from research or Professor Sycamore's. Nah, we should. It's a pretty interesting hand here, Joe. There's a lot of energies and the Vessel. Does have the Prime Catcher as well, so how much lower can he really go? He just picks up and shuffled.
Yeah, we want to grasp for more cards instead. We can still turn attach, of course.
Yep, so it goes down to at least 3-4 in hand now.
And it's a good thing he went for Cleffer, because you do not expect to draw into a hand like this, but when you do, you're very happy that you're seeing some additional cards from Cleffer now. Really well identified from Daniel.
So just the 3 additional cards here, 4 in hand already, and that's the grasping draw turn done. Back over to Alberto, does immediately Teal Dance, get some energies rolling on the board.
Boss's orders, but I don't think we have a V-Star.
Yeah,
oh no, is it going to be another slow turn from Alberto here?
No real way to...
Can't go down, yeah. Oh, well, we could switch and boss, but then... Yeah, it's not ideal. You could have attacked with Ogerpon into the one Regidrago, set up some damage for it.
I think that's
but the way you've turn attached now, you can't do that, so you're pretty content sitting back, I suppose. Unless you're going to try and gust up the other benched Regidrago V with 3 retreats.
Just to buy a turn. Yeah, buy a turn potentially.
Ooh.
You're not thinking about Celestial Roaring, are you?
We can't be there. We can't be there.
But
oh,
there
are we drawing with Mew? Is that what we're trying to weave in here? Switch into the Teal Mask Ogerpon, into the boss's orders. It's going to be onto the 3 retreat cost Regidrago V. 1 card from Mew EX here. It's a nest ball.
Hello. So it does get an
opportunity. So we can retreat into our own Cleffer now. That's probably the best thing we can do here.
There it is.
Whatever you can do, I could do this turn as well, I suppose.
I knew you wanted to say better, but not yet.
It's just too easy.
The hand allows you to.
That's what they're expecting.
The hand might allow him to, actually, because then he's drawing 6.
Yeah, that is better. True. It is better.
Whereas Daniel may be a bit stuck with a number of those energies still working in there.
Nah, he's got V-Star. He's all good now.
Right, don't tell Alberto. Anyway, so...
Yeah, this could have been a really different turn. You could have been the one putting on a little bit of pressure with your Ogerpon. It would, you know, risk a number of energy across your board, and then you're still looking for more energy switch pieces on future turns.
But it's still the same, right? Because it's not as if you needed to expend energy switches to attack with the Ogerpon. You could have just stuck the 120 on the Regidrago V. The Myriad Leaf Shower, of course. 30+ damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So with 3 attached, that's 90 plus the 30 is 120 there. Kind of just putting it within range, easier range, I should say.
Alberto rightfully having a look through his deck for the first search here. He's just been Teal Dancing up to this point. And it will be Cleffer in the end. And unsurprisingly, he's going to be trying to get back up to a 7-card hand. This has been a really important inclusion for a number of players. It wasn't initially in many deck lists, but some of the highest placing lists over the last few months have utilized Cleffer. And it's for moments like this where things aren't quite going to plan. You are a combo-centric deck. And when you don't have the best turn possible, going into this free retreat single prize Pokemon and topping yourself back up in hand size is really important here.
So we'll be grasping draw, I think, for 5 now. Is that 2 cards in hand?
Yep, because we just drew the one with Mew, didn't we?
Yep. So there you go. Grasping draw, just back into Daniel's face, just like he had done the previous turn as well. Daniel with this very heavy Regidrago V in the active spot right now. Top decks the research as well.
Oh my goodness.
Another Teal Dance. You know, things are really kicking off here for Daniel. He's got a lot of options.
Yeah, we're seeing a Teal Dance. First of all, I think just confirming what's going on here. Into another benched Ogerpon, into a second Teal Dance.
And more energies.
More grass energy coming to the top. There is V-Star in hand. I don't know if there are any switching cards in the discard pile.
And there's Prime in hand.
Oh, Prime in hand. My goodness, this is incredible. The only Regidrago V on the bench for Alberto is now under threat. Daniel can bring the free retreat Cleffa into the active position and then see 7 cards before even having to flip his V-Star marker here. We want to see energy switch first of all. There's at least a Dragapult EX in the discard pile.
I think has he missed it?
Well, his Haxorus and his Giratina V-Star are both in the prizes. Those are his one-hit KO options.
Yep.
But if you can get towards energy switch, you can at least get that 200 damage on something very relevant here. Going to be Ultra Balling away another Dragapult EX here.
This could have been devastating if just one of those big one-hit KO Pokemon are available. It's why he even mentioned the Haxorus again. You know, it's like another Giratina V-Star in his eyes. Of course, discarding the 3 is not the greatest at points, but to be able to swing for 230, Dragon Pulse being an incredible attacking, like, just Pokemon, an attack.
By the looks of things, Goodra is good enough. If we can get that in the discard pile from this Ultra Ball, that's going to be a great option to get your first hit in, whilst also protecting your own Regidrago V-Star energy. This is such a resourcey matchup that if you can save yourself that headache... Oh, look at this. We're going to... Oh, we're retreating back into the Cleffa. We're not going to spend our V-Star power, and instead we're grasping one more time here, Alex.
Yeah, it's not... I guess maybe because he didn't quite hit the E-Switch and doesn't want to waste the sort of resources for the moment. He's willing to give Alberto an additional, effectively an additional turn.
Wow.
To work on this.
Alberto was certainly not expecting that, I don't think.
No.
When you see the Prime Catcher, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm taking a lot of damage on board here.
That is a wasted Prime Catcher in that respect as well. Really, sort of, maybe it was just an unfortunate series of cards that Daniel saw, but didn't want to waste resources. That's the biggest thing. We spoke about this resource management in this matchup, and we're going into, was this turn 3, and we haven't seen an attack yet.
It's not what you expect, but here we go. Alberto can find a Regidrago V-Star now. Looks like Cleffa came up trumps in order to discard this Dragapult with Ultra Ball, get into your V-Star. There's also a Regidrago V on the bench for him now before... He is going to have to use boss's orders himself here.
He does have Prime, but I don't see the reason why he would need to use that for the time being.
Yeah, boss
he can simply, just boss, start causing havoc on Daniel's side of the board. That's the only support Pokemon he has. Draw for 1 with Restart. And this is being able to attack without even utilizing any E-switches, Joe. That's you know, 2 are prized, 2 are in the deck.
It's a complete opposite to last game, where Alberto was fresh out of resources pretty quickly. He had to spend his V-Star early. Now he preserves his V-Star, has access to all of his energy switch, and he's going up the first 2 prizes here. And he's also going to be able to set up some damage. You can literally see him rubbing his hands.
Like,
you can't help yourself because you're in such a strong position after this attack.
Who's getting these damage counters from Phantom Dive? This is big. Of course, again, it's a resource war, as you've already mentioned. Looks like it's going to be at least 1 on each of those Ogerpons. 4 left to play with. Just 4, 2 and 2, maybe?
Controversially, I don't mind taking out Cleffa here just to stop any Radiant Charizard shenanigans. I don't know. That's something that I like to think about. Just to, if that 3 counters isn't that helpful anyway, I don't mind it going on to Cleffa just so your opponent doesn't have that pivot. And just in case they want to weave in Radiant Charizard, you say, no, give me 2 prizes only, please.
Well, in reality, it's only 1 damage counter that's not... like, it's wasted kind of on that Regidrago V, right? The 3 on the V-Star kind of at least puts it into range with Charizard. And you've also still got the Prime Catcher boss potential for future turns.
Yeah.
If Daniel decides to go to Goodra.
You know what, Alberto's right. I'll give him this one. I'll give him that one.
Yeah, I'm on your side, Alberto. Come on.
It is probably
next time, can you squawk and squeeze, please?
We're going to see another Vessel from Daniel as he's going to pluck out a Fire Energy and a Grass. What's his line of attack going to be? Try and weave in Goodra possibly this turn. He gave away a turn of tempo on the previous turn, even though he had Prime Catcher, just because he was lacking those energy switch. But now he might still be in a situation where he has to use that V-Star power this turn. Wow, look how few cards are remaining in the deck as well.
He does seem to burst through his deck a lot, and he didn't even need to use his own Squawk ability as well. Just the double researches in his first 2 turns. And then, of course, all the Teal Dances he's already had. And the Cleffa. Wow, he actually has seen most of the deck already.
Yeah, turns out you can cycle through pretty quickly. It's going to be another manual attachment. Both our players are just slow-rolling their Regidragos in this game number 2 here. Regidrago V-Star does come into the active position. You have to think it's going to be a Rolling Iron here.
Yeah, he's moved the Hisuian Kudra V to the top of his discard. Just hits for 200 Rolling Iron. A fantastic attack that we've seen. I think Jesper mentioned it earlier in his own decks before, alongside sort of lost box type variants. But here we go. It's on Alberto to figure out a way around. Like I said, there is a Prime Catcher in hand, so he could actually just Prime Catcher, gust it back up if he wanted to do that now. Yeah. Or try and save that potential combo.
I mean, you can Prime Catcher this turn, start attaching energy to your benched Regidrago V, and then you're holding on to your V-Star power to get the closing out Boss's Orders or Prime Catcher on the following turn. So with the 1 damage counter on both these Ogerpon, he's pretty well set to win in 2 attacks.
Yeah, but it's on Alberto to see those lines, of course. He did hit one of those energy switches out of the prizes as well, so he's clinging on to that at the moment, as we do see another Teal Dance for that 1 additional draw and energy attachment as well.
Radiant Charizard coming into the hand. Could be like a bluff set type card, but if you're playing Prime Catcher, I suppose that's always fine because you have your V-Star still live, so also a Pokemon you might not mind putting down.
But the Fire Energy is just eyeing up on that Regidrago V for the time being, of course. Has the free pivots with the Prime Catchers when he needs to do so.
Yeah, I think Alberto's in a fantastic position here.
He's done super well considering that first turn. Again, didn't look too hot.
Yeah. He's been, fortunately, both players forced to grasp a few times. That's been a saving grace for Alberto here.
And there's the Prime Catcher.
The A-Spec Prime Catcher coming down. You have to think it's going to be an Ogerpon.
Now, the biggest thing from Alberto's side is he doesn't have another V-Star down yet, of course, because he needs to eventually evolve that up. He does restart for 1 here now. He could still be impacted by a Iono and another card.
Sure.
On Daniel's next turn.
When your discard pile starts getting this good, if you are able to find that second V-Star, oh, there it is.
Yeah, yep, there it is.
And we can evolve this turn, can't we?
Did he put it down
sure we
empty?
can.
We'll double check a moment. I'm sure
Either way,
he would if he
he's discarding one with Ultra Ball. Maybe there's another one in the deck.
Well, it's not prized, so the free are around somewhere. Just thinning out. Thinning is winning, as many of our caster friends love saying.
Coming to the bench. That's another way you can insulate yourself in case this V-Star is KO'd in the active, you know, the one that's heavily damaged right now, that will certainly come into the active position at the end of this turn.
Pheasantipity shining again, it seems.
Oh, there's the other V-Star in hand, that's why.
There you go. There we go.
I was thinking, where was it? Where was that card? One more Teal Dance.
With that, does it almost shore up the situation for Alberto?
I think he's in a commanding position.
But I'm sure, as great as a player as Daniel is, he'll look for those lines. He'll play to his outs, as we do see the damaged Regidrago V-Star go back up into the active spot now. Can Phantom Dive for 200 damage? Does have another further 6 damage counters to play with as per usual. That 1 on that Ogerpon's gone, and then the 5 on that damaged V-Star already.
Yeah, making a total of 8 means that that Rolling Iron reduction will be undone as well, so you could get still back up to that 280, which is a nice pickup there from Alberto. So he's making sure that he has nothing in his way on this final turn. Daniel's going to have a look at some resources remaining. Ooh. He's going to then flip his V-Star marker. Flinging the cards out here. You can tell that he's not too pleased about the situation.
1 card left. No, yeah, 1 card left in deck.
1 card in the deck. You've got to think he's going to be using Ino this turn. So you can at least reset the cards in your hand, which is what, like 4 or so?
Remember, it still needs 6 prizes here. His back is fully up against the wall. Alberto just needing the remaining 2, and just so many different targets available, and the V-Star power available.
Yeah, I mean, there's 1 Ogerpon here without energy on the bottom of the screen for Alberto. Can you bring that up? Try and Kieran maybe, the V-Star, the Mew, and the
Dive
Ogerpon
around first.
Or Phantom Dive around, yeah.
Just to get full value.
Yeah, I'm trying to win into it. Well, yeah, you could Phantom Dive and then hit the Mew and then set up for a Kieran 3-prize swing. No, it's going to be a concession. Daniel can't see a way out of this one. When Alberto still has his own V-Star power open to him, he realizes that there's game on board for Alberto in any which way he likes on the following turn. So we're going to a game 3 here, Alex.
Yeah, congrats to Alberto for figuring out and sort of pretty much building a checkmate point there, just having the double V-Stars. I mean, only 1 energy switch was actually used during that game too, which was pretty crazy. It's not what we see too often with this kind of mirror match, as we do get a chance to see a replay as well, as Alberto had to figure out a way into his own Cleffa, but that set up his board state to completely dominate, especially after Daniel's prime catcher to bring Alberto into the active spot.
I think Daniel will look back at that moment and think, why didn't I take the risk? Why didn't I try and go with my V-Star power? It never feels good when there's no guarantees, but still seeing 7 cards when you hadn't yet seen an energy switch, 3 of them in the deck with one of those prized. So you do have those good odds, but Alberto capitalized, was the first one to initiate the prize race while setting up both those Ogerpon, putting him in this position where there was 2 V-Star on the board. So Daniel had nowhere to go at that stage. Alberto had full access to his discard pile, so couldn't lose at that point.
Yeah, and maybe this is the first time Daniel now will be able to go first in this matchup as well. Try and set up a little bit better. Oh, he's set up fantastically in the first 2 games anyway. Has access to the supporters.
Yeah, lacking some crucial pieces along the way. His opening turns have been solid, but if you are lacking those energy switch, ultimately it does change what is in your range for the turns. So.
That's despite 3 being in the deck as well. It was just one prize for Daniel.
Yeah, if only you could cherry pick cards out the deck. That's one of the only downsides of the Regidrago V-Star, is that it's all dump and draw with your Squawkabilly, with your research. Even Ino is putting cards at the bottom, then drawing from the top. There's no guarantee that you'll draw into those cards, even though you play maximum copies.
Yep, no, exactly that. As we do get to start to see our players put down their prizes now. Haxorus hiding once again for Daniel's side.
Double energy switch,
double energy switch, and a
Goodra. Man, the tech cards for Daniel. As we're going to see us get into this game 3 here. This decides who makes the final here in Gdańsk. Already we're going to see a Regidrago V into a Squawkabilly EX. Alberto going to do the gracious thing and show us what was discarded along the way. A couple of research and a couple of dragons in there as well, Alex.
Yeah, the big attackers already. I mean, what Daniel was maybe also missing was that big attacker.
Do we have any energy? No energy in this hand?
Doesn't look like it, despite that Squawkabilly. He was very quick to squawk and seize there. Here comes the Nest Ball as well. Is there anything else he can maneuver into? I mean, missing energy when you've got 4 vessels, if I'm not mistaken, on both sides of the field, and 8 grass, 2 fire. In Daniel's list, for example, he's probably just thinking, well, how have I missed this? Only one of each prize, 1 grass and 1 vessel. Just looking through that list at the moment, he's just making a couple of notes. A lot of the top players have started to do that now as well. Keeping track of all those resources has become a key skill in the Pokemon trading card game, especially players at this level of competition. Every step is a very important one to make.
Oh, no doubt, especially at this stage. You can't miss a beat. You can't think, oh, I can't believe I just missed energy. How unlucky am I? Let's Nestball, do whatever. You still got to stay calm at this stage and think about the long-term strategy. There's still many comeback avenues for these archetypes, because you can get tricksy with bench damage as well as counter placement. So it is going to be another Teal Mask Ogerpon onto the bench from this Nest Ball. I'm pretty certain there was no energy attachment, though, which is a real awkward moment for Daniel. That's part of the reason why going first is so strong. You naturally get attachments in, which means you don't need to find energy switches later. And
in comparison to the next turn, where he would typically be looking for 1 energy switch, he would need 2 to get a meaningful attack off on the next turn. So a little bit of a tricky situation for Daniel now. It's just a pass. It's on you, Alberto, maybe to try and not necessarily capitalize like maybe Daniel did in terms of that first turn in game 1, swinging away with
Alberto's hand is poor as well. I think we're down to a Teal Dance here, Alex. I saw V-Star, Pheasantipity, I saw Super Rod. I don't think he has any proactive cards either.
This has been the tale of Alberto's top 4 at the moment.
What is this top 4? Both players have better poker faces than I can tell you that for sure.
Well, that Teal Dance could unlock a lot of things.
Tina's here at least. It's not all bad, Alex. Giratina's still here.
The first search. But yeah, that Teal Dance, it's going to be all on that Teal Dance, but as we've mentioned it before, that Teal Dance can unlock absolutely anything, right? There's plenty of ball search. 4 Nest Balls, 4 Ultra Balls, they're pretty big. If he can find his way into those, he can maybe get into a Squawkabilly.
Squawkabilly. Could he go low enough for Mew? There's obviously the supporters of the big hits here.
I think if the hand is, as you kind of described, I did see the Pheasantipity EX as well. We know how important that is. He's also just seen the energy switches are prized as well, because that's he just flicked up 2 there. 2 grass. Energy is now going to hand, just in case he suddenly hits a Ogerpon. He can Teal Dance 1 more time then, seeing 2 cards, of course.
This could be defining our top 4. Who's going to make the final? These Teal Dances are huge.
Big shuffle.
One big card here for Alberto.
It's a big shuffle. Here we go. Teal Dance. It's going to be pretty massive. 1 top deck. Is it playable? It's a
Professor's
research. Here we go. We're gaming.
Alberto's in it.
But now it's come down to what resources is he going to lose, because one's a prime catcher.
You can prime catcher, well... well, do you even want to? I think it's decent to prime catcher up Squawkabilly, just because otherwise it's an easy teal dance retreat.
Super Rod the energy back into the deck. Why not? You don't want to.
Yep.
You might as well utilize that resource whilst you can at least do so.
We're always playing the research. That's going to happen.
At least we're in the game, and that's exactly. I'm sure Alberto's just breathed a sigh of relief there. Didn't want his top four to end like this.
He's still having to think,
potentially end like this, I should have said. He could have maybe drawn out of it on an additional turn, but it was that research. Is he going to bench
Squawkabilly and put that active? No, it's going to be the prime catcher just for Squawk. Yeah, I do like this the most. And then we're going to research everything. No, the Pheasantipity is going to come down just in case. And there's going to be a couple energy going, as well as one Regidrago V-Star. Let's see a fresh 7, though. What a sigh of relief for Alberto. Still in this game and seeing 7 fresh cards. Yeah,
I don't think in the grand scheme of things, not too bad at all. The Prime Catcher's there waiting for the V-Star power to maybe be reutilized a bit later. Still has access to a few other resources as well. Here's another Teal Dance, and we're rolling here for Alberto. Does need to find some of those Regidrago Vs as well. There comes an Ultra Ball. I can imagine it can only be a Regi that he goes for here.
You'd think so. There we go. There's going to be Regidrago V coming onto the board.
Into hand first. Give himself a chance to think.
Yeah, all right. Oh, hello. That's why you put it there and not straight onto the bench. No, okay, it is going to be Regidrago. Also getting rid of a Dragapult EX in the process. Can't be understated how important that is. So we have access to our attacks.
Could he have ever gone for a Squawkabilly himself here? I mean, maybe the hand's resources were
He's got an Iono in hand, then he has Mew EX, so we can draw a couple additional cards here.
Yeah, okay. We can work with this.
I think maybe debating like a Cleffer or something, but that's just too risky, right? Maybe it pays off from these 2 cards. If you can get a single prizer into the active.
And there's a second Regidrago V as well. I'm liking his spot now.
Yeah, that definitely insulates you from Daniel going aggressively chasing one of your Regidrago.
Right, so Daniel, it's on you to try and work out your pieces of your puzzle now. Ultra Ball first, discarding Superior Energy Retrieval, and I think it was
another research?
Yep.
Is that 3 down already?
I mean, considering he was playing them pretty quickly in games 1 and 2, he pretty much burst to the bottom of his deck in both of those games. Does get this second Regidrago V out.
What a strange opening in this final game of our top 4 in Gdansk. Neither player having the best hands, having to adapt on the fly here. Daniel still has the potential for a massive turn. There's a couple Teal Dance. There's a turn attachment available.
Iono.
It all starts from these 6 cards from Iono.
So still quite a few pieces for Daniel to get an attack off. Does have the attackers ready, or has an attacker already? Has both, actually, isn't he? Has the Dragapult and the Giratina V from the early Squawkabilly. Still needs to find 2 energy switches. Does have Ultra Ball to go into the V-Star.
There's no way we're missing out on more energy here. Well, I suppose we can at least get... Yeah, you're right. V-Star gives us a further dig into the deck. But we're still lacking these energy cards.
Is that at least one grass
one
in hand?
Grass is all I see.
So there's a Teal Dance first.
4 Ultra Ball as well.
What is it? He's keeping it close to his chest, just like
it's going to be Ultra Ball.
That was the Dragapult and another Regidrago V going into the discard now. So plenty of attackers, available attackers at a V-Star rider. Was there a V-Star rider back? No,
I want Alberto on our stream every time. He looks at the opponent's discard pile, gives us everything, all the information. So handy. Take note, everyone.
He's well... Not calling anyone else out, but yeah, be like Alberto.
It's great to see. Daniel now, was it the V-Star that he picked up there?
I believe so.
Into hand. It's got to be right. I think we still need a lot of things here. There's not even any energy for Squawkabilly to put back into play. Is it just going to be an energy switch retreat into Cleffer here? Oh.
That's not the prettiest. Again,
we can turn attached to a Regidrago thanks to Night Stretcher. Then we're grasping once again.
Grasping for 6 cards there. So he's giving another inch over to Alberto's. For you now, Alberto, to maybe take a mile. Just go ahead in this.
I think there's already energy switch and grass energy in hand for Alberto.
And if he gets the Ultra Ball with
supporter as well,
V-Star, he can just pick up that Prime Catcher once again, maneuver that Cleffer out of space.
Yeah, it's not going to be a problem for him. Canceling Clone, an easy thing to burn here. So he should have an easy map to at least push Cleffer out the way.
And then start targeting down Daniel's setup and board, which hasn't really seen too much action so far, in all honesty. There's the first of the 2 energy switches Alberto has access to.
Gonna throw out the Cologne.
We'll Cologne that Cleffer again, or that space that Cleffer is sat in, of course.
7 fresh cards. We're looking for V-Star. As you said, Alex, getting manual attachment in is handy here. Energy switches if required. Is there any energy in? Yeah, I see grass energy. Is there access to Ultra Ball here or V-Star? Not seeing it.
Not quite. It would have been played.
Oh,
surely,
there is a V-Star in hand.
Okay, so
Alberto does have the Prime Catcher live. I think the other thing you have to take might be Super Rod, because you got rid of one early and a bunch of energy. Unless your 7 cards then dictates a different card you have to take, I suppose. You also have to think about the discard from the 7, of course.
Yeah, the worrying thing is, does he have the other E-switch in hand at all?
Yeah, there is an energy switch.
Okay, so he won't be discarding
no
that.
manual attachment, though.
There we go. There's the Legacy Star power being utilized here from Alberto. What 7 cards will we see that can dictate this game, of course? Just double checking the 7s, most important. All discarded. Giratina V hits the discard. Dragon Ball hits the discard. Again, not a terrible 7 at all.
That. We're pretty happy with that for certain.
I mean, he had the saving grace of having the other energy switch in hand already.
Yeah.
Can easily, quickly choose that Prime Catcher as his #1 target. And now it's just, well, what other piece of the puzzle do I need? Maybe a Vessel to kind of get energies into hand, a Super Rod, as you just said.
Yeah, just a turn attachment might be that important that you just take a basic energy here.
Does play 2 Super Rods, so you know you can kind of maneuver into the second one at a later stage. It is prized for the moment. Yeah, there's a Super Rod prize, which is why I was thinking Alberto might just have to grab it. You have 2 energy switch in the prize cards as well, so not getting the manual attachment in feels really bad. Yep, agreed.
So
don't want to be wasting.
Like, either way, he's gambling from prize cards here. Yeah, that might even make him want to take Squawkabilly out first. If we're going to be using Goodra, the Dragapult TX's attack, what's going to be a Vessel here?
And then just starting to set up the board the same way, yeah. So Vessel just to be able to get a few more additional energies out of the deck into hand so we can play around with the energy attachments.
One more time as well, yeah.
So there's the third.
My issue, yeah, this is the issue. I wanted physical grass energy here because we're going to have to find Super Rod from these prizes, Alex. This is rough.
It's a touch and go scenario here, in all honesty.
But very light on resources for Alberto now.
Especially with the fire energy also prized as well, when he does want to weave in the Charizard. It's going to be quite difficult when you can't just cherry pick a fire energy to attach. Especially at the top.
That was a tricky call for Alberto. I would have liked to have seen a basic grass there myself. He's still been able to thin the deck, but he's very light on options now.
How many energies are left, in fact? Well, I guess if he can get the E-switches...
Oh, no, you can't Teal Dance there. You need to... Oh, he has an energy switch in hand.
He's going to use the energy switch.
He's going to use all his resources here. One more card from Ogerpon.
Hit the boss, it looks like.
Boss's orders. Can we attach to the bench Regidrago V? So we're not going in here?
No, he's got energy switch, so he can still go.
We're still going to... Okay, fine,
Energy switch, Prime Catcher. And then he's just working, then he's kind of reducing the odds or percentages he requires because he could hit energy switch off the board, right?
Yep.
And then there's actually double energy switch. He's already worked out. He's got double energy switch, the Super Rod in there. The odds of at least picking up one of those is pretty good, pretty high.
Yeah, Prime Catcher. We're just having a look here. The thing is, the prize cards are so vital, you may just take Squawkabilly here. Alberto does get, if you don't take prizes, you get massively punished by Daniel just using Lost Impact.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I think this is right. This is really wise from Alberto, I think. You're losing a bit of value in terms of damage counters overall, but you just need to see what's in those prizes at this stage to formulate the rest of your strategy.
And he will only have access to one more energy switch. Does he have any more energy in hand at all as well?
Well, he attached a fire for turn, and he also Teal Dance, so I think there's no more fire in his deck.
I don't think there's any more
There's no energy in his deck.
I don't think there's any grass around available.
Yeah. And he only has one energy switch. Let's have a flash of those prize cards if we can, because I think it was a Kieran and an energy switch, which means there's still some really important cards in that in the prizes for Alberto.
Yeah, just whilst Daniel's playing out his turn now, of course, they're the prizes that Daniel has. I will confirm, yes, it was a Kieran and the energy switch that was taken from the bottom of Alberto's prizes, from the 2 prize knockout he's taken. So Daniel here can really force a really awkward spot. Despite such a slow start, he can really force Alberto in a really, really dangerous position because he won't really have access to much else.
Yep. So let's see how Daniel wants to navigate it then. This is one of those situations where you're having to look at, it's the game within the game, not just what you see, not just the prize cards, not just the board states, but also what's in that discard pile. The V-Star marker has been flipped for Alberto, so Daniel still has a lot of access to resources remaining and can get some really cheeky plays in still here.
Still needs a few more pieces, though. He, of course, did Cleffer up to 7. You know, it was 6 whole new cards a moment ago, so it does have the energies and a Regidrago V-Star in hand. More Teal Dance from Ogapon. Just hits another grass, which is fine. We can keep dancing for the moment, but he needs a couple of more pieces. Where's those energy switches when he needs them?
Just a switch card. Can we draw anything here?
He's going to have to expend that V-Star power as well, I think.
Yeah, there's Fire Energy in hand.
Fire, Grass. So he can draw 1 here. He's got Boss as well. He says Boss. Ooh, okay. So this, and again, another interesting scenario where he's not right now wiping out Alberto's energies.
Yeah, that's a huge relief for Alberto once again here.
And probably not what Alberto was expecting either.
Couple cards here for Daniel. Daniel, who has been so ruthlessly trying to hold on to this V-Star power, will eventually flip it.
Here we go. 7 big cards. There's 1 E-switch. Some of the other attackers gets the Giratina V-Star there as well.
Again, I don't think that's horrific.
No, not at all.
Additional ball search cards are fine. I think we've already played the Night Stretcher, so just have a quick look if you have access to more V-Star later. So 1 E-switch going, not ideal with 1 in the prizes, but I think you can take that overall.
Yeah, you can work with this pretty well, I think.
V-Star E-switch coming to the hand.
The other card's a little bit less useful at this stage of the game. Yeah. Hand isn't great, though.
Just lots of grass energy. He missed them early, and he's just seen nothing but energy now.
Yeah, so here we go.
There's energy switch. There's 5 counters on this Regidrago V-Star, so Rolling Iron can still be impactful in terms of tanking here. Ooh, so but we're getting creative. We're going for the Kieran. We're going for a double Trifrost win condition here from Daniel. This is the way that you can win in 2 attacks, bringing the Teal Mask Ogapon into the active position, so you don't have to worry about the Terrastal ability of it. And then you're also able to damage the Pheasantipity EX and the Mew EX. Can Alberto stop this?
Big heads-up play here as well, just because, you know, he's only expended 1 of those E-switches. He just needs 2. Yeah. Obviously, 1 is prized.
We need to bring back this Ogapon as well. Presumably, that's going to be retreated from Alberto.
Yep, so that Ogapon is going to be running back away, and because it is a Terror, just as a reminder for everyone, is unable to be attacked onto the, on the bench.
Right.
So no damage can be dealt to it. So here, Alberto's just drawn his card.
This is going to be a thrilling end to this game, Alex.
It's not anything we expected whatsoever, because we honestly thought maybe that Drago V-Star is just going to be going down.
Because we have this cast division, we can see the prize cards and whatnot. We're worried about Alberto losing these resources, his energy all in 1 turn. But Daniel's gone 1 turn ahead and said, how about I win in 2 attacks? What if I put Alberto on that clock instead?
What a spot Alberto finds himself in.
Wow.
Because by not taking any prizes, Iono or any sort of disruption's not happening either. In Alberto's head, he's probably thinking, well, does he have it in hand? Does he just already
got it? He only plays this way if he... Yeah, exactly. Resource-wise, Daniel has the possibility of getting there. There's a vessel. Alberto's having a look at resources remaining.
There's a potential just like a bait of saying, well, Iono me, because I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have it in hand, right? And we know Daniel's hand because of our caster
terrible as well. Yeah, oh my goodness.
This is incredible. I can't wait to see how Alberto's really going to play this out. Does he have anything as a way of even disrupting if he wanted to?
Box's orders in his hand? This is tough.
Does he say now I'm going to win in 2 turns as my own self?
He's going to bring up Mew EX and try and deny the draw power from Daniel. This is very wise, I think. Retreating the Teal Mask Ogapon EX.
That's the other Gust being utilized now, and it's on Alberto here to select the attack that would allow him to win potentially on the next turn.
This is going to be crazy, Alex.
I just want to re-look at Daniel's hand because I don't recall it being too great.
I know there were energies. I think Daniel's taken the only play that lets him win in 2 moves, and maybe he thinks he's behind enough to make it happen.
So here we go. Big attack. Dragapult, Phantom Dive, 200 damage on that Mew EX, a KO, taking Alberto down to 2 prizes now. And just 6 from the Phantom Dive, just to play around with. Yeah. The typical things probably we're going to expect is the 1 on the Ogapon once again.
It's just going to be the 3 and the 3.
Oh, okay,
maybe
not.
1 Ogapon around. Daniel has that free retreat Cleffer.
There's another energy.
Another grass energy.
Nest Ball. Remember, he doesn't play Pheasantipity.
In the list, yeah.
The deck is thin again, so another Ogapon maybe just to keep drawing cards with Teal Dance. He'll see another 3.
All we have is grass energy, Alex. Why not?
And then it's just...
In terms of Gust remaining, because we have to get this damaged Ogerpon back into the active position for us to win here, as well as finding that energy switch combination. Is it just one boss's orders we're chasing here, Alex?
Yeah, I believe so. There's not much else going.
We need a runner combination of Teal Dance getting us there now, I think.
Here we go. It's just free grass. Here we go. First Teal Dance. First top deck. We've got Ultra Ball. Okay, doesn't offer too much.
That's
Another
no
Teal
dice.
Dance. What is it? I don't think I saw much again.
I don't think we have a combination here that wins us the game.
There's a research.
Can we even draw that many cards?
Is there Prime Catcher available?
We need to see the discard pile here. If Prime Catcher's available, we just rip the research and take the win here.
He would have played it, I'm sure, if it was.
We need to have a look through the discard pile. Daniel, head in hands.
Yeah, he's really tanking about just kind of missing all of those pieces. I mean, they were still fairly sizable when it's just Teal Dance to draw.
Does he just have to cleffer up cards here and grasp?
It's just
going to be a grasping draw here.
It's on Alberto. Does he have it in hand already? He's moved something to the active.
He knows.
This is it. I think it's just a grasping draw. Alberto shows the boss's orders. There's a fist bump. Alberto Conti has been able to make it to the finals this time after a top 4 finish in Lille. Against everything from that game 1 as well. He's been able to take this down. What a fantastic showing by Alberto Conti.
That's exactly what you want to see in an intense top 4 game. A mirror match, no less, but very different deck lists altogether.